Welcome back. Wanted to show you a little something. I wanted you to hear a little something actually. Yeah, I'll put that battery in there. I've rigged myself up a petrol tank up there because I know better than to put the real fuel tank in it. You hear that? Do you hear the whoop 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 noise? Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah, I hear it too. Okay, I've tried just about everything on this, and my fuel pump is still leaking also. So I'm going to pull that off of there and get some, get a real German rebuild kit and go through it again. It's not leaking where it was. It seems to be leaking, I don't know, underneath or something wacky. Probably filling the crankcase full of gasoline. Yeah, that would be great. So you heard the whoop 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 noise? Okay, well, that means the engine's got to come back out again. What? Yeah. So I've had this engine out of the chassis on that noise before, and checked the end play and checked the end play, and it was perfect, 5 thousandths. And the clutch, pressure plate, throwout bearing were all changed. It's not the input shaft seal because you can push on the clutch and it makes no difference. The tin's not rubbing on anything. The pulley is not rubbing on anything. I disconnected my belt, so it's not the fan or the generator. It still goes whoop whoop whoop. So what I'm thinking of, because I had endless trouble with this shitey Brazilian case about things fitting, it's probably the case. It's probably not line bored right. The cam and the crank aren't sitting exact correct place. It could be anything. Okay, well, what are you going to do, Dan? Well, I'm going to get another engine. What? Yeah, I'm going to have to. So don't know what to tell you about that. Rome wasn't built in a day, and this car won't be either. I've got a line on a couple of things. One thing I was looking at the other day, I was looking at this, and it was this is a pretty good deal actually. 67 VW Beetle title, body with title, in Springfield. Remember, this is 1 year only, so it's a very desirable car, and it looks as if Abner hasn't got completely sideways on it and took everything off of it. You know, things are still in place. It probably has a wiring harness. Ooh, look what's dangling there. Keys. A keys and a title for $750. A little rusty, but doesn't look too bad. Not for $750. Even has running boards on it still. It can be very. Looks like it's got nice tires on it too. So $750 in Springfield on Craigslist, not too bad. Well, anyways, this had an engine. This had an engine with it, and they wanted. Hold on, just a second. Sorry, that 9 to 5 gets in the way all the time. This car, the 67, has got quite a few of very valuable parts on it. It's got the wrong taillights on it. No gas door. See, 67. I think the trim ring's broken, or the horn ring's broken. Missouri, show me state. It's got the water bottle, all that. Yeah, it's got everything in it. Anyways, about the engine, I've got a friend of mine who has or acquaintance of mine who has some Volkswagens. He's a little older than I am, and he doesn't part with his stuff very often. So he wants $800 for an engine that'll run. Of course, it'll need to be all taken apart. And this is an HO engine, which is the 1500 single port correct block for that car engine. So also, my gracious brother Brian, he asked me, I guess from the get-go, he's got a Mexican block that come out of his Type 3. And of course it's a universal case with dual port heads on it. But the guts are okay, and it doesn't go whoop whoop whoop. So I can have a dual relief case free, and easily build an engine out of that for my parts. So that's probably what I'll do, and I'll get with this guy. And $800 is kind of hard to come by right now. So I'm going to take my brother up on the offer when I go to Michigan this winter, and pick that up from him. So we can finish the car and work on it still, but engine wise, that's got to come out. So because I don't want it to whoop whoop and then explode. So we'll probably do that. And I will probably ask this guy hold on to this engine for me till next spring. Maybe give him $100 or $200 for him to do that, and he'll probably graciously, of course, do that. And then I'll just pay him off when I get rich in the spring. And then I'll have lots of engines. It's always nice to have an extra engine. I can run the dual relief case until it's fixing to let go, and by that time I'll have the correct engine for that rebuilt. But it's a labor of love, and I'm not one of these millionaire Volkswagen owners that you see half of YouTube. He's got 16 split window Volkswagens in his garage, and 2 Hebmullers and a Ramich, and he's doing all this, and this is how this is done, and that's how this is done, and this is how that's done, and that's how this is done, and he hasn't turned a wrench ever in his life. He pays people to do it. I'm not one of those guys, so I don't have people working on my cars, sourcing parts and finding things, and a team that are working on it. You're looking at them, me. So so I'm doing the best I can with what I got, and there you go. Oh, okay. Now let's turn our heads towards this, and as you can plainly see, this would be a drive shaft. Take a guess what it's out of. Yes, it is out of the Safari. I'll explain. Before we get into the drive shaft, I want to do something. This video is going to be 2 things. It's going to be how to change your transmission fluid in your car. You can do it in just about any car, and I'm going to show you how to do it the quick and easy way. Let me explain to you first. A transmission is not an engine, and therefore it does not burn gasoline. Since it does not burn gasoline, there's no particulate that goes down between the rings and down through the cylinder and contaminates the oil. Okay. The only thing that contaminates the fluid in a transmission is the wearing of the parts inside. Most of them have magnets to catch all the metal pieces, the fine metal and stuff like that, and your clutch pack. And your clutch pack is what contaminates your fluid. As your clutch pack wears it, the fluid captures it. and it turns it brown. A lot of people say, well, once you get an old transmission, you don't ever want to change your oil because it won't shift then. Bullshit. That goes right up there with setting a battery on the concrete. That's just a load of crap. A transmission, if you change the fluid in it and it doesn't shift anymore, that transmission was just on the cusp of going out anyways. Okay, so you can only do good by putting transmission fluid in it. Back to our particulate. Inside the transmission is a filter. Okay, it's not a filter that captures microns. Okay, it captures big chunks. Okay, and in an older car or something like that, I don't want to crawl underneath it, and I don't want to pull that big greasy pan down and have transmission fluid I'm swimming in and all that other crap to replace that screen. That's essentially what it is a screen. It's a filter is I don't know, it just gets the big chunks. So I don't do that, man. I don't change the filters in my transmissions, and I don't have any problems with them, but I do change my fluid. And I'll show you the quick and easy way to do that. But first thing I want to show you something. This SuperTech, I've had very good luck with it, especially in my older cars, the Dextrons, GMs and stuff like that. This is $14 for a gallon, and it's $22, I think, for Valvoline or something. So you're saving quite a bit. And then I did a test on. I watched a couple of Pepsi challenges on this. This fully synthetic, and that's for the Nissan, and the for 1030, and the 530 being for the van. Probably 530 is for the Nissan. I never bothered to read the instructions and found out what it's. I'll have to look at them. It's probably 530 or something, I would think. But the 1030 runs just fine in it. That's what I got for it. But I did a Pepsi challenge on YouTube. I looked at it, and this here, that there is all as good as, so they say, Mobil 1. And this is $15 for 5 quarts, and Mobil 1 is $25 for 5 quarts, so I'm saving $10. So buying both of these oil changes, I've saved $20. So okay, let's get on to changing the transmission fluid. You're going to have a funnel and a hose to go down in your, and then for GMs, I have a fixture on a hose clamped on there, and you unscrew it from the radiator. And let's go and I'll show you. Okay, here's the old GMC Motorhome. This is a '85 model, and so it's the $400 Motorhome. I just want to do a quickie on the transmission fluid. It's a little dark, so we're going to pull that out, and we're going to take our 1/2-inch wrench, and we're going to look down here, and there's going to be a line, and I've already disconnected it. Now, the top line, come on, so you can see the top line is where the fluid's going to come out, and it's going to come out of this. All right, this is the end. It's going to come out of here and go back into the transmission. So this is the end of the circuit, is right here. So if we connect this line and we put it in a 1-gallon bucket and start the vehicle, it's going to draw it out of the pan, of course, and through the circuit, and then through the radiator, and then out. All right, and we're going to get about 3/4 of a gallon. It's going to start hissing and popping at us, and then we're going to shut it off. And you want to shut it off before you run your pump dry. So don't run your pump dry. And then we're going to put, you take out a gallon or 3/4 of a gallon. You put 3/4 of a gallon in. So you've got the pan almost dry, so you're going to put 3/4 of a gallon of clean fluid in there. So it's going to start that circuit, and then you're going to pump a little more out, back and forth and back and forth until you have all 3 gallons managed through there. Now most transmissions, like this one's a 350 Hydromatic, and as well as my wife's Nissan, and as well as my Astro van and my Safari van, all hold about 12 quarts. That's 3 gallons. So in order to clean the whole circuit out, you need to go through about 12 quarts. So we're going to get that started. Okay, we're going to start up the best running carbureted Chevrolet V8 in America, and then we're going to shut it right off. And we're going to go take a look and make sure I didn't have this wrong and it's squirting out the other one. But I'm pretty sure I have it right. And make sure it's delivering it to the bucket. So let's give her a start and see what happens. Just quickly, you know, on and off to make sure you're not spraying it everywhere. It's not. There is a trickle coming out here, so I'm going to call it good. Now I'm going to fire her up and watch it come out. And shut it off when it starts gurgling. Don't run your pump dry. Now this can be done in a very nice and neat and sanitary fashion instead of rolling around on the ground and swimming in transmission fluid. See? So there you go. Back this up. Okay. Transmission fluid in here. The reason why I have a hose in here is to support the funnel, so I don't have to use 2 hands. And you can pour just enough transmission fluid in it without tipping it over. You expect to spill a little bit, but not a gallon. Fire it back up, finish that gallon. Pour the rest of this in here and we'll switch the hose. Cover up that one and that'll be a gallon of dirty transmission fluid. So let me finish pouring this in there. And you get my gist how to do this, right? And when you get all done, cap off your line because you'll have a gallon to pour in there, and then pour it in there, you know, read it with your stick and pour it in there and that kind of stuff until you got it full. But it should, if you was full to begin with, and you take out 3 quarts or 3 gallons, it should hold 3 gallons, correct? Yeah. And then you'll have nice, pink, clean transmission fluid. How about them apples? Okay, pull your line off and let the residual flow into your 3rd gallon of used oil, transmission fluid. And make sure you tighten up your last fitting down there. There you go. And oops, come on back here. There you go. Let that drip for a little bit longer. Hose isn't behaving. And is it going to stay there or not? I don't know. We did the whole deal on a couple pieces of paper towel. Not 3 bags of cat litter and 6 rolls of Bounty. Okay, so still yet we have to fill our pan with our remaining gallon, and you will check it on your stick. Some of them have markings on it on the stick. It tells you what kind of transmission fluid to use. It also says to check it in park or neutral, and the Nissan you check it when it's not even running. So look on your stick. Incidentally, your 710 cap right there is tells you what kind of oil to use on this one. 1030 on the Astro and the Safari it's 530, so difference there. Okay, and we're going to pour the rest of our transmission fluid in there, and we'll summarize this in a minute. And because I had let it slightly run dry, I started getting some bubbles through it and stuff. What I like to do is after I pour my 3rd gallon in, I'll put it in drive, in reverse, back and forth a couple of times. That way it kind of shifts things in the valve body, and it might get any air pockets out so you get a correct reading. Your shifts from reverse to drive should be instantaneous. There should be no slippage, so if you did it right. There's a method that it's used, and it's a big machine, and they hook it up, and it's got a draw side and a dump side, and you put your 3 gallons in the dump or the draw side, and you push the button and it pumps the fluid through the circuit just like it's doing here, only you're using the pump of the transmission to do it. And when it gets done pumping, pumps all the fluid in there, pulls all the fluid out. You take your 3 gallons, it's got a little petcock on the side, you drain the machine, you haul it away, and you charge customer $400. We've done this for less than $50. Park, trans hot, engine idling, vehicle level. We're right here. It says add a pint. Up to the full line is a quart. So I'm about a quart shy. So let me put a quart in it. It's about right there between the full and the add 1 pint. So I'm going to leave it be, and it should be just fine. might be, yeah, it's a little tilted towards the back, and I think we're good. I don't want to overfill it, and I think that's fine. Nice and pink, yeah, you know, barely can see it on there. I love it. Nice and easy to, mess free. Okay, here's our 3 gallons of used transmission fluid. Set this over here for recycling. And then we have 1 empty gallon to start us all over again. There you go. That's how that's done. Now, the drive shaft. What had happened is, or from what I surmise, the drive shaft, the straps had come off the back of it. It must have not been on very well. These are the straps. I'm not going to take them out of the bag because all parts will get loose. But they go over the top of the caps. And if you look carefully, I'll see if I can come in on this as close as I can. Focus. See if I can get focus. Best I can, okay. And really, if you look at it, see how spalled that is? Now, this one ain't too bad. No, it is on the other side. Yeah, it's really spalled on the other side. But this joint was on its way out anyways. So to have that dump out of there like that, it's just a godsend probably. It probably needed to be done anyways. So let's examine our drive shaft. Most importantly, let's examine the U-joints. Okay, the U-joints that I got the strap kit, of course, for the back. But both of them carry the same part number. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. These have something I haven't seen in a while, and that might not be what I think that is. That might be Spicer is what that might be. I thought it was a Saginaw stamp. It might be a Saginaw stamp, but it's probably Spicer. Spicer makes a lot of driveline stuff now that I think about it. Okay, if you want to look at your shaft, okay, your drive shaft, and there's weight here. Okay, that's what that is. It's a weight. Okay, and then you look at this collar here, and this collar here has got a drill mark in it, right? Okay, now that means it's balanced. Okay, so opposite of this weight, I'm going to draw a line from here to here with something indelible, not tear it into there or anything, but something that I know that when I have this thing put together, this is not turned around 180 degrees. Because if it's turned around 180 degrees, your shaft will be out of balance, and you don't want that. So let's mark that, and then we'll get her in the vise and start driving the joints out of it. Well, it's another day in the Amazon jungle. It's high noon, and it's raining to beat the band again. This rain is this is 4 inches an hour rain, and it's been raining like this for about 2 hours. So getting that out of my backyard, that ought to be funny. Okay, back to the oh, you thought I was going to say rainforest, didn't you? No, no, no. The rainforest is in Oregon and Washington. That's the jungle down there in the Amazon. Okay. I want to show you a little something on this drive shaft. It's quite an interesting setup they have here. Okay. The other side is, you've seen them once, you've seen them all. They have those little clips. You pull a clip out and you can drive the U-joint out, right? Okay. This is General Motors answers to something that we never asked for. And if you see these little gizmos right here, that means the U-joints are sealed in with plastic. So you have to get them hot and melt the plastic out. I like to call it popping the zit. So I will show you, and we'll get this hot. You have to use a acetylene torch. Of course, you do not want to get this red. Don't get them red. Don't get them cherry, because if you get them cherry, it'll take the temper out of the steel, and you don't want to do that. Don't worry about a thing. Leave it all up to us. Hey, this is what I call popping the zit. There she comes. Yeah. There, did you see that? Did you see that pop out of there like that? Okay, that means the little groove in there, the little groove that they injected with plastic has melted enough to push it out. Now we're going to flip it over and do the other side. And we'll watch the zit pop here. You watching? Oh, I'm squeezing hard. Oh, there it is, look at that. There we go. Now we should see that cap move up. Don't get her too hot. There she is. Now I know you're not going to believe this, kiddies, but that's going to be hot. So you're going to have to let that set for a little bit. Okay, once you have the zit popped on that, put both ears in your vise, but make it so that the shaft will drop free. Don't ever clamp your shaft in a vise, because that's just a piece of pipe. You give it a squeeze too hard and it'll put it out of balance. So don't do that. You take your universal joint, here's your new one, find yourself a socket that'll slip over that. See that, like that? Okay. Then take yourself your whacker, put it over the top of that. And what will happen is the socket will get stuck on you. That's a little too big. The cap's a little big for that. Maybe I don't have the right universal joints. Hey, you know, that's happened before too. So let's try to find a socket bigger. That's scary right there, because I don't think I have the right joint for this. Here's one a little bit bigger. That seems to fit okay. You see that cap pop up like that? There's the groove right there where they had all that plastic in there, see? That right there? Yeah. Now you can take that cap off. If I was prepared, I'd be able to do it. Now I can take that cap off there, see? Cap. Right there. Needle bearings in there. Now you roll it around on the other side. exactly the same thing. Where'd my socket go? Dropped another guy. There. Ooh, those are hot. Cap off. Now, we've got that marked. Remember, we took our engraving tool here and we marked that right there. And that's going to line right up with that. Don't forget to mark it. We're going to put this up here and put a little squeeze on it just so it rests. Now let's look at our other universal joint and see what we got there. A note, a note, a note, a note. So O'Reilly's sold me the wrong joint. How about them apples? So probably the back one is this, but the front one's different. Have to go back to O'Reilly's. Now the other side. Oh, nice. Clean that tip. Pop the zip. Oh, you see the zip growing out of it? Oh, there it is. Oh, look at it. That's a carbuncle. That's not a zip. Wow. Yeah. Okay. You seen that one side pop, so we're good. Hit the other side too. Let that cool down, kiddies. We'll drive it out of there. This might be easier said than done, because it's going to be a balancing act. There's one.
Oh, the junkyard.
I'm videoing.
Oh.
Whoa! Look at that. And I'm going to tip this over and we're going to do the other one. That way you can get them grooving out. And, woo! That's still hot. And your Westy comes out of there. See that right there? And then there's that. Now let's look at the other one. See what you got. And I can tell right now that these ain't the right size. So I'm going to take this part down to O'Reilly's and get the right part. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the jungles of Borneo. Still coming down. I went up to O'Reilly's and I got the right parts. Had I remembered this I would have looked at my joints and said, no, they're not right to begin with. But I didn't remember. On these plastic set ones where you gotta heat them and pop them, you're always going to have a groove in the replacements, because when you get this pushed in here, there's going to be one of these clips that's going to clip down in there to hold that in place when that goes back, and so it doesn't go back and forth. And I didn't think about that, and it's been a while, so you know. But anyways, there was 6 different joints that could fit, and so these are the ones. The other numbers that I had, listen to this, the other numbers that I had did not even pertain to the vehicle I was working on, so I don't know where he got those numbers from. Anyways, okay, let's get these pushed in. Be sure to deburr, and liberal use of some anti-seize wouldn't hurt either. Don't forget to do those. You know they're good because they say heavy duty. That's funny right there. That's pretty funny. All right, so you want to make sure and paint your with some anti-seize, okay? Now we're replacing these seal joints with one that has a grease fitting in it. So you know, you can put your grease fitting there, but I like to do is I like to put my grease fitting in the center, so it affords it the most availability to get a grease gun in there. Okay, so this is how I do this. So I remove these caps. If you put more grease in there when you push it on there, you're going to get a like a vacuum, and what will happen is the cap will pop back off. So you don't want to put more grease in there because yeah, inside here there's a bunch of little needles, of course, and make sure they're not laying down. Okay, take it off carefully. Okay, all right, that's good. And what we're going to do is we're going to slip that in there. Yeah, okay. Then we're going to put a cap on right here, right there, and we're going to slip our joint in there. Make sure it slips in there. Yeah, that's nice. Now we're going to put cap in here. Okay. And then we're going to come back and we're going to see if we can get it slipped in this way as well without dumping your needles. Sorry, my hand's in the way. Let's see what you got here. There she is, right there. So I've got it halfway between each of the caps. So I'm going to open my vise up. Well, I wish this was a little bit more square, but it's not. And I'm going to come down, and then I'm going to squeeze like this. Squeeze them in there. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to make sure that I'm not binding. Because if you keep squeezing, and then maybe one of those needles is laid down, what will happen is it'll get bound up, and you'll know. So you want to make sure it's moving, so it doesn't get bound up. Yeah. Kind of get tight there all of a sudden. Yeah, it wouldn't have moved. Still. Okay, and then what we're going to do, I'm going to drop a pin in there, right here, and see if she fits. I think that pin will go in there. Possibly. Okay. I'll pick that one up. Try another one. Didn't like that one. Okay. Moving. See, if I was prepared, you guys wouldn't have to be going through this nonsense. Okay. Get one clip on. Now, take this out of there, and I'm going to lay these up here. Be careful, don't lose your, yeah. Then we're going to give this a little tap. And let's see if we can get that tap in there. I think not. I think we have some problems. So we'll have to take this back out again and look at it. Okay, give me a minute. Got both of my clips on. Now I want to get them set in there good. Okay. That one's in there good. Now, I want to tap those caps down. Kind of away from that clip. And that'll give a little bit of slack in there for that joint to move, because right now it's real tight. So again, what I'm doing is I'm tapping the cap right there. There's a clip in there, of course, so I'm tapping the cap out, and that way it gives the joint a little bit more room for movement. So we'll have a look at that. Oh yeah, that's nice right there. That moves nice, and your clips are set in there, and that's lovely. You got your grease fitting in the right position. Yeah, in the position that I like. I seen a video the other day of somebody putting a drive shaft. I think this is the only video of a drive shaft for a Astro, and what they were doing, it's this kind of this gentleman of about my age, and he's shirtless, and he's showing everybody how to do this. It's kind of a here, hold my beer kind of a video. It's kind of funny, but there's no joints were replaced. He was just simply, oh, this is how you do this, and this is how you do this. And it's like, yeah, buddy, right, okay. There's no there was no joints being replaced. I thought that was rather humorous. All right. Remember our alignment? There's our mark right there. So of course that's going to go on there like that. And we're going to grease up our, and we're going to get her in the vise and give it a squeeze. So let's get that done. Okay. So I've got myself a lot reserved out to the lake. this weekend, and I was going to take my boat out there, you know, my Sea-Doo out there, and fill the bearings in the drive up with some water. And I noticed on the news that the boat ramps are closed. And the boat ramps are closed, I guess, because you know, it's too much water. Here's the deal. This is another government thing. Who's to decide how much water there is and whether or not you can float a boat in it? And last that I remembered, boats kind of like water. It's almost like closing the water to the ducts because there's too much water for the ducks. You know, it's kind of silly. Yeah, you geese, you can't swim in here because there's too much water in here. Yeah. And so yeah, I thought that was rather humorous. We did get a lot of water. I gotta cover you up here for a minute so I can find out what's holding us up there. Let's push that a little bit farther. There we go. Now we'll do a little vice action here. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, not only have I got a train ordered for you, but I got some rappers ordered too. Some rap music as well. How fabulous. Yeah. Much better than that, eh? Okay. You got her pretty tight. Yeah. You get your clips. Let's see what you got here. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I'm going to move that real quick. That ends up on the ground. Oi! Okay, let's see here. Clip. Let's see if we can get this pulled this way a little bit. Alright, so clip on there. Clips, where's the clips? There they are. Yeah. Ooh. Oh, it's just wanting to zing off of there. Alright. Let me pound these a couple of times and see if I can't get those clips in there, because this is getting a little old here, this one. Okay, I had to do kind of a frontal assault on this, and what I mean by that is, drop that clip, that little C-ring, it's got to go exactly behind that yoke like this. And then once you get it kind of pushed on with your finger, you can come behind it just like this with a screwdriver and give it a what for. Now, this one here doesn't really have a lip on it like the other side did. So I'm pretty happy that those are seated properly. Oh, again, let's look at what we have here. Okay. We've got our joint, and let's see if we can find it. We are going to be able to grease it. I think we'll be able to grease it. Maybe. If we're lucky. Probably I should have put it on the other side. Now that I look at that, let's have a look here. have to get at it with a grease needle now that I look at this. It probably would have been a better idea to put it over here. But I can get on it when it's relatively straight. And let's see here. Pump all the Chinesium out of it. Shoot her full of some good grease. There we go. I would think you would want to put it in the center, but you don't, because that's going to be too hard to get at. I'm going to have to buy a grease needle now in order to get to this. So frontwards, backwards, I'll have to relook at this one. This one I'll have to put towards the back. This one's going to be a little hard to grease, but I'll get myself a needle, a grease needle. I've always wanted one anyway, so I'll get one. But at least it's greasable now. But I think I probably would have been better off if I would have put the Zerk towards the back here. Okay. You know, you want to take it back apart again? Okay. I guess we could if you wanted to. Lines up. That lines up. Our clips are on. The joint's greased. Does it move? Yeah, if you have any binding, at all, it's not right. Okay, so remember that. No binding. Okay, let's get to the back one. All right, let's have a look at our front universal joint. If you look, there's some needle marks there, some spalling there. This joint is on its way out. It was losing its lubrication. Got some needle marks there as well. So, you know, this is trash. This going to start making noise and give you all kinds of trouble. First thing I did on that, the other one there, is I bent up 2 little tabs on those clips. Those clips right there. Bent those up so you can grab a hold of them with a pair of ice grips. And you can pull them out of there. Like so. Like that. Spray a little let go in there. Yeah, there you go. Rotate that. Let's see how you guys are. There you are. Sorry if I get my hand in the way. Brakes off. Let's see here. Looks like that got pounded a little bit when it came off. Let's see if we can get that out of there. Ouch. There she is. One of these days I'll clean up that mess, hey? I'll bring that down here. My wife had bought me this vise for Valentine's Day. Nothing says I love you like a new vise. So let's put that on there. That's a big cap. That's a big cap. Let's see what we got going on here. We got the same thing going on we had before. Maybe we got a different joint here. We might have a different joint in this one also. Look need a bigger socket. Be right back. I think I've got the wrong joint. Okay, I got a bigger socket. Fits over there better. Yeah. Okay. One more time. One more time. Wonder if she'll come out of there now. Nope, doesn't appear so. Wonder if I can take that out of there. Let's see here. Nope. bet you I can drive that out of the bottom with a punch though. Let me get a punch and drive that out. No sir, that's not the right joint. See that? See that? So that's not gonna, those clips there aren't gonna go back up in there like that. So here's a bit of warning for you guys with the Astros and Safaris. I don't know about the other ones, but if they give you, if you look at your drive shaft and you've got clips on the outside here, then your joint is going to have clips. All right, there's not going to be a different way to put it in there. It's going to be put in with those clips. And if it's the melt-in kind that has the groove with the plastic, then you're going to have the inside clips, the little half rings. So this is the wrong one. You know, these are enormous freaking universal joints. These are just huge. I had a 3/4 ton Ford van and it had tiny little universal joints. And this is huge for an Astro van. That's outrageous. Okay, it's nighttime and nighttime ain't no time to be messing in this neighborhood at night. So I'm going to shut this off, and tomorrow morning I'll go up to O'Reilly's and I'll take the old joint or the caps anyways, and we'll get the correct one. I know which one it is because he had 3 others that were like it that were big like that. So we'll get the right joint and we'll continue this up tomorrow. But the magic of the camera, it'll be 1 second. Okay, actually it's 2 days later because life got in the way. We were decided that we would go out to the lake. I had a spot reserved. They're kind of hard to get, and I had it reserved since February. So we pack up everything, and I was thinking the hardest thing I was going to have is trying to get the motorhome out of the backyard. But no, I got it out of the backyard, and the wife and I got down to the lake and we set everything up and everything was fine. And turned on the water, and I started having water gush out from underneath my toilet. I have a problem I haven't looked at yet. I tried to fix it over there. I think that because going down the road, the vibration and the coupler coming loose or something like that. So it's something simple. I can fix it. It's not a problem. But I didn't have the tools or wherewithal to do it. So and you can't shut those systems off individually. You can't shut the sink off. You can't shut the shower off. That kind of thing. It's all on one deal. So with no water, it's going to be, you know, it would be kind of hard. So we left and got a rain check for. They'll give you a rain check if you have problems like that. So we got a rain check, and we're going to do this again. So I gotta work on that also. So I come back to this and start working on this. Okay, make sure you're all cleaned out and stuff. I've got a couple of boogers here that I want you to see where the shaft come off and it started wailing around on stuff. This really isn't going to affect anything as long as it's not broken. I have a little edge here. I want to kind of work that a little bit. Don't take a lot out of there. Be careful because those are kind of press fit. They're what's the word I'm looking for? The size of this is exactly the size of the cap. So, and incidentally, if you want to do this, you can put these in the freezer and just at ambient room temperature, just ambient temperature. There's quite a difference between that, and they'll go in quite a bit easier if that's what you wanted to do. Okay. This one's pretty easy. It should be pretty easy. This is, I'm going to slide this down and squeeze it. Let's get our vise and see where we're at here. Yeah, I think we can do that probably. Probably should be able to. Okay. I'm going to tip that right there. Can you see that? Yeah, well, let me move you over just a little bit. There you go. And, let's put a little anti-seize in there. Now, again, and this isn't my first rodeo, you know, I've done lots of U-joints, but it is my first rodeo finding out that one car has a dozen different U-joints. I've done U-joints on my old Ford van. I just ordered them. Bob's your uncle. There you go. They're the right ones. I've ordered universal joints for my motorhome. No problem. Yeah, you know, I mean, and they fit fine and everything was okay. And now I've come across this, which is just kind of bunch of different universal joints, and I look at this drive shaft, and I've climbed underneath my 95, and it has a different drive shaft on the 95, and it looks like it has smaller U-joints. I don't know. It was just kind of weird. Okay, so you're going to take your caps off. Make sure you don't spill any of your bearings. Okay, you're good. One cap and two caps. Okay. All right, and we're going to put this. We're going to put this towards the inside. Okay, so give us a little bit more room, the nipple, the grease hook. Slide that in there like that. And we'll, let's close this up just a little bit. Here we go. And we'll put one cap through. Get my hand out of the way. What I'm going to do is before I put that other cap on, I'm going to give this a little squeeze just to get it seated in there. So I'm going to give it a little what for. Okay, where's our pipe? Had a pipe. There she is. Make sure you keep your joint pushed that way the needles won't come out of it. Okay, as far as I can go. Now, we'll take and we'll put that there. Now we're going to slide this over into this cap just a little bit, kind of between the both of them. And we'll drop her down. And let's see what you can do here. See if I can get those in there. Well, it doesn't want to go. There it is. There she is. Okay. Okay, once you got that in there on both sides like that, you're pretty safe. See, your joint's going to slap back and forth like that, but the needles aren't going to get bound up. Now, if you're going to hammer on it, I'll take these caps off, because caps come off and fall on the floor, and you will be, that's right kitties, sorry. You will be sorry. Now, we're going to pound this hard steel vise onto these hard steel that's right, throw it on the floor on these hard steel surfaces. We're going to try not to do that, so we're going to put a little cushion underneath it, so we're not just pounding directly on those bearing surfaces. I know you thought I was going to do that, didn't you? Socket. Okay, you can see your groove. Screwdriver go. There's a big screwdriver, that'll work just fine too. Let's see here, we'll put this one in there, and then we'll pull it. How about that? How about the nipples? I think it would go in there. Guess not. Now let's do the other side. Make sure our joint still turns, yeah. Okay. That's a very big, beefy universal joint. I've never seen anything that size before in a little minivan. Very beefy. Now, probably what we're doing is we're driving that joint, and we're driving the other side too, all the way, tightening up that clip, because there's not a lot of room there. Not a lot of room. Sure those are seated right now. We'll see if our joint turns a little bit. If our joint moves. It shouldn't. Yeah, pretty tough. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that back down there like that. And then we're going to pop this cap this way. Right here. Now we're going to pop this cap down a little bit. And probably what we can do is, let's see, how are we going to get that cap down? Cap down. Huh. Oh, I know what we can do. We don't have to do that. Let's turn this over. We don't have to do that. Okay, what we can do is we can use, since this space here is flat, and we push this space, it'll pull this cap down. There she is. Nice and smooth, and there's no binding or gnashing of teeth. So remember, don't get your pipe pinched in there in the vise. Don't squeeze it. Make sure they're not binding. Make sure that I'm going to leave these off, because sure enough, if I put them on, what's going to happen is they're going to fall off and the car needles will be all over before I get to the job. Use a grinder and kind of grind out the rust in the crap. Make sure your grooves for your clips are good and groovy. Examine your drive shaft, make sure it's not bent or it's not broken, cracked, something. Some other things that we looked at, make sure that your alignment is correct on your weights and your yoke down there. Make sure that's lined up right. And of course, the joint that came out of it is the joint that's going to go in it. So if they give you a joint they're plastic inside and they've got clips like this, they're wrong, because there's no grooves in that. The clips are going to go on the inside. And remember that there could be 5 or 6 different joints for your vehicle also, just like mine, and you'll end up taking several trips to the parts store. So that being said, a micrometer's nice. Bring your caliper with you, or bring the whole joint or the whole drive shaft, and it'll help you out. Well, I hope you learned something, because you know what? I learned something too. so all right. Well, now I got to go narfle the Garfont of the water leak in the motorhome. So enjoyed you being my company here doing this. Now we're going to have a good drive shaft for the Safari, and hopefully it won't fall off, and I might be able to even bring it home tomorrow. Who knows? All right, thanks guys for wrenching with me. We'll see you on the next one. Bye. For transport, I'm going to wrap them with tape, and then the caps won't come off. I imagine a big rubber band would work just as well. There you go. So now I'm not... Where'd the caps go? I don't know. I left them at home. All right, thanks. See you guys later. Bye.